What's going on, everybody? My name is Ben and welcome back to another episode of the All at Sea group build. We're back on the A6M2-N and today we're going to be focusing on the resin. Now last episode we went ahead and we made our silicone mold. Here, this is it, and it looks beautiful. I'm very excited to go ahead and see what I can do with this resin. Now this is Art and Glow. It's actually a two-part resin, a part A and a part B. We actually need approximately 2 cups of resin to go ahead and fill up our mold. I don't know if I have that much in here, but we're going to go ahead and give it a try. Plus, we have a little bit of an issue. It tells us we shouldn't do any more than 6 ounces for a cast. This is way more than 6 ounces. We're just going to roll the dice. We're going to try it out and see what happens. Because honestly, I don't know what else to do. So let's just give it a shot. Now I've got 2 of these party cups here, and I've actually marked on the inside approximately the amount of 1 cup of each of these. Once we go ahead and pour those in, we're going to empty it into this clear container, which I have also marked. Then we're going to mix it up. We're going to drop a little bit of clear blue, clear green in there, and then we're going to pour it in and just see what happens. So this is going to be very interesting. This is all new to me. I've never really tried this before, at least not on this large of a scale. I did play around with the resin a little bit, but honestly, I don't really know what I'm doing. But we're going to try it out. We've got the instructions. We've got the time. It's a nice day outside today. It's not too cold, not too hot. We've got our mixing sticks. We've got everything we could possibly need as far as I know. So let's just go ahead and open these up, pour in the proper amounts, mix it up, and just give it a pour. Let's do it. All right, everybody. So we went ahead and mixed everything together. We had a little bit of clear blue and a little bit of clear green in there, just a couple of drops per each. Now we're ready to go ahead and start our pour. So this is the moment of truth, guys. Let's go ahead and give it a shot here. Just make sure it's nice and mixed. The thing I will say about this Art and Glow resin is this is actually pretty nice stuff. You know, it's pretty easy to mix. It's half and half, 50-50 mixture. So that's kind of nice. I'm not sure how it actually dries in something this large, but we're going to try it. Worst case scenario, we just either get some more resin, try it again, or we just go with the stand. But I'm really hoping this will work. So I'm just going to be using this mixing stick here as kind of a pour aid. And I'm just going to pour all of the resin in here nice and slowly across the entire surface of the mold. I'm going to make sure that all the corners, all the little divots, all the undulation is all covered with the resin so that we have a nice molded piece once this is dry. Now this actually takes about 24 hours to dry. I don't want to try to remove it from the mold before it's ready. I just really want to just give it a full amount of dry time and just see what happens. So again, this is all new to me. This is just an adventure. All right, so we have it all poured, and as you can see, there's a lot of little bubbles that kind of congregate around the center of the actual resin. So this we have to go ahead and get rid of with heat. Now the instructions tell you to use some sort of like a torch or like a little mini torch, some sort of propane torch of some sort, to go ahead and just kind of glaze it across the top and to pop all those bubbles. So I happen to have one of those, and we are going to just start by gently sweeping this heat across the top of the resin. You can already see that those bubbles just absolutely vanish. So that's kind of nice. I'm not going to do too much. I've got it on the lowest setting possible. It's probably even too high for what it is, but again, that's all I have, and I really want to make sure that this just becomes smooth, crystal clear. At least, well, somewhat crystal clear. A couple of passes with this torch, I can already tell that, yeah, the bubbles are gone, which is really, really, really nice. So I think a couple more passes and we should be good. Trying to keep it far enough back so I don't cook the silicone and I don't hurt the resin in any way, shape, or form. And I think that's about got it. So yeah, I'm pleased with that. All right, so while that's drying, we're going to move on to the aircraft. Now that resin has to dry for, like I said, about 24 hours. So while it's off doing its thing, we're going to have to focus here first on some of the seam lines. Now we have to take care of the seams for the wing root to the fuselage. There's a little bit of a seam there. Should drop some putty on that. We have the fuselage seams. We have the cowling seam as well. We need to go ahead and sand that down and just kind of get everything squared away and smoothed out. We also have to work on the center float as well as mounting both the wing float and that center float along with the side supports. Lots more to do, guys. So let's go ahead and get those jeweler files out, get that sandpaper, and just run through those seams, get them all ironed out. All right, so we have our seams more or less kind of squared away, and we're going to have to come back and touch up some paint here on the top of the cockpit. We have to touch that up with some green, but we're going to move on to some of the part installations. Now, there is a small oil cooler that kind of hangs down inside the float. There's a giant hole in the front of the float, which I guess is for the oil cooler. So we're going to go ahead and mount that in here. There's a tiny little hole there, so we just have to go ahead and drop some glue and glue it right in there. Make sure that it's all nice and smooth. I don't know if you're really going to be able to see this though, but hey, the instructions tell me to mount it, so I'm going to mount it. Not even a problem there. So let's go ahead and take our hobby knife, just make sure this is nice and clean. Drop it right in here, drop a little bit of glue. Should actually go in just fine. All right, let's go ahead and just press this in. Just like that. Now it does call for it to be black, but I figured after I go ahead and prime this thing, we should just be able to drop some black in there and you won't even notice it. Guaranteed you're not going to see it. All right, so let's go ahead and move on to the support struts for that main float. They have a giant seam line that runs down the very center of both sides of these supports. So we have to go ahead and remove that seam. I'm going to try the jeweler file first and see if I can't just slowly wear that down, but it's not really working too well. So I think we're going to switch over to the hobby knife. Now you can take a hobby knife and you can just kind of scrape the plastic. You're not really cutting into it, you're just kind of dragging the blade across that area. And it should help take down any sort of seams or any sort of raised detail that you want to remove. That actually works pretty well. So we're just going to scrape the plastic, remove these seams, and I think we should be decent to go ahead and glue these down. Now again, the plastiline clay that I made for the mold, I actually measured out the wing and the center float. So they should be in about the same position. Though adding these supports, I don't know if that might alter maybe the pitch of how the float sits. I don't really know. This is all an experiment, But I think if we get these kind of ironed out, I think we should be okay for all of our alignment. So that looks pretty decent. Let's go ahead and drop some glue into the locating tab right here. And let's make sure we get this in the right direction. So just looks like it kind of slants inward. Also, we should probably take off just a little bit of plastic on the very top of the connection point. I want to make sure that this is nice and flush inside. It doesn't have any weird protrusions and kind of rocks or anything. I want it nice and flat. There we go. Not too bad. All right, I'll go ahead and do the other one off camera since it's about the same idea. And we're ready to roll. All right, just a little bit of glue here on that support. And we'll just drop a little bit on the inside of the locating tab. And let's just press this right down inside. There we go. Notice it kind of cants inward. Now with the center float, we can go ahead and test this out. Nice. Fits right in there. Though the supports are a little on the short side, I think they'll be okay. The majority of the float will be connected on the center line of the aircraft, so I think we'll be all right. All right, guys, we have mounted the center float as well as the wing floats. Everything is sanded. Everything looks good. We have a little bit of cleanup to do right around the wing floats where they connect to the actual underside of the wing itself, but honestly, they fit fine. Everything looks good. The rear supports were a little short, but I was able to kind of extend them just slightly. I also used my little homemade tool and I added a little bit of super glue just to stiffen everything up. Just want to make sure they're nice and stable. So that's all taken care of too. So let's go ahead and call it quits for today. We're going to let the resin dry for about 24 hours. So next episode, we'll go ahead and pull that resin out of the mold and we'll see what happens. In the meantime, we're going to push forward with the aircraft and try to get as much done as possible. So until next episode, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this because this is an adventure and I'm having a blast. So we will see you back here next week on another episode of the All at Sea Group Build. Until then, go out, get yourself some bench time, have some fun, build something cool, and we'll see you back here on the next episode of the All at Sea Group Build here on Ben Builds. Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you soon.